There's a crochet project that has been searched for by thousands of people. Heck, I've even searched for it, but I haven't been able to find just the right one. That's when I knew I needed to create a crochet pattern for all of you, a solution to a highly sought after crochet project. The men's beanie. Now don't get me wrong, this is completely gender neutral. Use whatever colors you want, whatever textures you want. The idea was though, whenever I reached out to a guy that I wanted to make a beanie for, whether that was a family member or a friend, they all seemed to have the same request for me to use a very, very plain pattern when making their beanie. Do you know how hard it is to find a very, very plain crochet pattern that doesn't look feminine, has a little bit of stretch to it, and actually looks good? This was a challenge, but I think I found one you're gonna love. The yarn that I utilized in this project is my very own CWT EcoLuxe Gemstone yarn line. It just looked so good. It was on point with the project. I think you're going to love it. If you would like to get your hands on it, you can find the EcoLuxe Gemstone yarn line on my website, crochetwithtiffany.com. I'll put links in the description section below for you, as well as all the other materials I used for this project will be listed below in the description with links next to them as well. We're going to start with the brim of the hat and then work our way upwards to the top. Taking your yarn. To make the brim, we're going to start with a slip knot and attach our crochet hook and chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For row 1, we are going to make a single crochet in the second chain from our crochet hook. And then make 1 single crochet in each chain all the way across. You should end row 1 with a total of 6 single crochet stitches. Last stitch here. Great. Now for row 2, we're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn our work. And for row 2, we are going to make 1 single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch. So what that's going to look like is we're going to find the stitch, we're going to rotate it so we can see that beautiful V on the top, and we're going to insert our crochet hook into the center of that V and then just go underneath the back loop only. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And repeat across for a total of 6 single crochet back loop only. Great. All right, for the rest of the brim, all we are going to do is repeat what we did for row 2 over and over again until you reach the length of the brim that you desire to match the size of the beanie that you're wanting to make. If you are wanting to make an adult small beanie, you'll want to make 66 rows. If you want to make an adult medium beanie, you'll want to make 68 rows. And if you want to make an adult large beanie, you will want to make 70 rows. Anything smaller than that, you can refer to my chart in the pattern, and I will have a beginning amount of rows that you need to make for your brim so you can make your beanie size. And I'm just finishing up row 68. I am planning on making a medium-sized adult beanie. When you finish your last row for the brim, ta-da, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then lay the last row you just made on top of the first row you made. Go ahead and stretch this out to make sure it lays flat. You don't want any twisting here. That is going to be your brim. Let's go ahead and slip stitch the last row and the first row together. We're going to start by inserting our crochet hook into the stitch underneath both loops, and then come to the first row we made and insert our crochet hook underneath that first stitch. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And continue to repeat that all the way across to join these two sides together. Fabulous. Once you've made it to the other side, hopefully you are looking at the tail, like your end is right next to the same side as the tail. And we're going to go ahead and take our brim and we're going to fold it inside out. And we do that for this joining section. Let me show you. We just joined this two. I folded it back so I'm looking at the same side that I joined on. The side I joined is very pointy. So if I were to open this up, you'll see that this side where I joined is still going to stick out and it's going to be very pointy and obvious. If I fold it inside out, and then the point is coming towards the inside, so when you wear it and you're looking from the outside, it all looks smooth and nobody will know the difference. Okay, we are now ready to start working round one, or the very first round of the body of the beanie. And we're still working up this way for that section. We begin by chaining one. Now with each peak that we've made for that ribbing, we're going to make 2 stitches. 1 stitch on one side of the peak and 1 stitch on the other side of the peak. And then when you go to the next peak, again, it's going to be 1 stitch on this side of the peak, 1 stitch on the other. So if you're looking at 2 peaks right here, you're going to have 1 stitch on this side and 1 stitch on this side. So there'll be 2 stitches between each tall peak. Hopefully that helps you out. We should have an even number of stitches, which means we should have an even number of peaks. And make your way around, single crocheting into the side of every row. You should know exactly how many rows that you made for the brim. We should end this or round one of our beanie with the same number of single crochet stitches that we had number of rows for the brim. And finishing up round one. There we go. To close, I'm going to do a slip stitch from behind. So taking my crochet hook, going behind my working yarn, finding the very first single crochet stitch that I made, going underneath both loops, slip stitch, pull backwards, and then slip stitch. Great. To work this stitch is called a flat single crochet, and it's a bit different. So please follow along with me. I'm going to do the best I can to show you what we're doing. Round 2, we will chain 1. We will come to the very first stitch, but we don't work into the stitch. We don't work on top of the stitch. We actually find those 2 stitches right below the stitch. It's kind of like on its post. And if you look closely, it kind of looks like a V-stitch. Pretty cool, right? What we want to do is we want to take our crochet hook and we want to go underneath both loops here of this V-stitch. So again, here's my stitch space. I'm going to come at the stitch from the side. So just pick up that first loop and pick up that second loop. And I like to use my thumbnail to help scoot it onto my crochet hook. But see how I got underneath these 2 loops? And I'm going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So that way I have 2 loops on my crochet hook, and I'm going to pull. This stitch is very dense and it very quickly becomes a tight stitch. So I definitely encourage you to favor on a very loose tension with these stitches. Then yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. Come to the next stitch. Again, find that V right there in the front. So here's where I would normally put my crochet hook. come to the post of the stitch, find that V, and work underneath those 2 loops. Go one at a time if you can, go underneath both at the same time if you can. There's my 2 loops there. Then yarn over, pull through that, and give yourself some wiggle room. You will thank me when we reach round 3. Yarn over, pull through. And we are just going to repeat this all the way around for round 2. And finishing up round 2. Here we go. Great. To close round 2, we're going to find that first stitch, go behind our working yarn, behind the stitch, place our crochet hook underneath both loops, then yarn over, pull through, and slip stitch to close round 2. Now what we're going to do for the rest of this pattern is repeat round 2 over and over and over again until we reach the height that we desire for our beanie. Now if we're working this adult size small through the adult size large, we just want to make sure when we take our measuring tape that we will measure from the bottom of the brim right there and measure up. And we want to stop when we get between 7.5 and 8.5 inches tall. That's when we will start closing the top of the beanie. To work round 3 is actually a lot easier than working round 2, especially if you worked your stitches on the loose side. We're going to go ahead and begin by chaining 1. Find that first V to indicate the first stitch of this round. Go to its post and find the upside down V right there. See that? Right there. So we're going to want to go underneath both loops right on the front. Taking your crochet hook right underneath both loops. And the looser you make the stitches, the easier this is going to be. Yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through, because this stitch will naturally want to tighten up as it builds on itself. And so if you work a normal tension, then you'll find that the stitches feel a bit tight naturally. And if you come upon a stitch that's just giving you some trouble, you're having a hard time getting your crochet hook underneath those stitches, you can absolutely just grab your yarn needle, come at the front of that stitch, find your V so you can insert underneath both loops, right there, and you can lift it and place your crochet hook back in the loop, and between the loop and your work right along with where your yarn needle was to help you get your crochet hook into that space. That's it, guys. That's all we are doing for this pattern. And as you go round after round, you'll start to see that really pretty ribbing start to develop. And it looks so good, and it allows some stretchiness, and it is just so repetitive and easy. Go ahead and keep going on. I think I went to round 30 before I stopped, but again, go off of dimension rather than following my stitch or round count, just so I can make sure that you are making your beanie at the correct height. Remember, we're shooting for between 7.5 and 8.5 inches tall before we stop. And I'll meet you there, where I'm going to show you how to start decreasing the top of the beanie. I have just finished all 30 rounds of my beanie. I'm making an adult medium-sized beanie, which means I have a total of 68 rows in my brim. I should have a total of 68 stitches in every round. And now 30 rounds, where I'm going to now start to close in and close off the top of my beanie. With the adult medium size having 68 stitches, I just want to make sure that I have 4 decreases in every single round. Taking that number 68, dividing it by 4, that means every 17, I'm making a decrease every 17 stitches. The 16th and 17th stitch need to be a decrease. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work 15 stitches, and then I'm going to take the 16th and 17th stitch, decrease it to 1, and then repeat 4 times around for round 31. Now, if you're making a different size beanie than I am, check the pattern and the chart where I've already divided all these numbers up for you, so you don't have to do any math. You can just reference the pattern and have that number good to go. We're going to chain 1. I'm going to start by making that flat single crochet stitch in the first 15 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 12. And if you see me flying through these stitches, it's because I used that loose stitch. I mean it, that tension is gonna kill you. You need to make sure your stitches are on the loose side so you can move faster. The tighter the stitch, the harder it's gonna be to work in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now let's work a flat single crochet decrease together. Insert your crochet hook underneath the front V, yarn over, pull through. The next stitch over, insert your crochet hook under that V, yarn over, pull over. You should, or yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your crochet hook. 1 loop from this stitch, 1 loop from the next stitch. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Keep it loosey-goosey. Again, we have a tendency to want to make things tight with our tension, not with this stitch. Keep it loosey-goosey. And then repeat 15 flat single crochets, and then decrease the 16th and 17th stitch together. We will repeat this 4 different times. So this is 1, and then I will meet you at the end of round 31 to close, and then show you the new count for row 32, or round 32. And 15, and decrease 16 and 17 together to close off round 31. There we go. Closing off the round by doing a backwards slip stitch. Perfect. We are now set up for round 32. Now for round 32, again, we are going to be decreasing 4 times throughout the entire round because of the previous round being a decrease round. We now have fewer stitches to work with. We're going to make a front single crochet stitch in the first 5 stitches and then do a decrease front single crochet. So we can offset the decreases so they're not creating lines. We want to kind of shake it up a little bit so everything is more rounded. And then after we do the decrease front single crochet, we are going to make 1 front single crochet stitch in the next 14 stitches, and then decrease stitch 15 and 16 together, and repeat until you make it to the end. Chaining 1, and here we go. 1, 2, 5, decrease, and then let me show you how to work on top of a decrease, just in case you get to that stitch and you're like, I'm not quite sure. When you come upon one of these decrease stitches you need to work on top of, we're going to go ahead and take our crochet hook and go under the 1 loop that is connected to this stitch right here, and then we're going to go underneath that V that is on top of this stitch right here. See that? Then yarn over and pull through all of those loops because they're all taking place as the same stitch. Then yarn over and pull through. Look how pretty that is as we continue to just narrow that down. It looks very smooth and cohesive and very, very pretty. Great, so I ended with 9 stitches, but I began the round with 5 stitches. 5 plus 9 equals 14, and that's exactly how many stitches that I wanted between each of these decreases. Yes, we're on count. Let's go ahead and close up round 32 and move on to round 33. Now, if you're looking at your amount of yarn, you're starting to worry if you have enough. This is how much I have left, and I promise you, we have enough to finish the top of this beanie. For round 33, again, decreasing 4 times. The number shrinks again. Now we're going to make 13 stitches between each decrease, and we will be decreasing the 14th and 15th stitch together. By staying on this count, you'll be able to make it evenly around round 33. Chaining 1. Let's go ahead and begin with a decrease, offsetting again. Perfect. And now jump right into it. 13 stitches of front single crochets and then decrease. Now I think you are good to work on top of decreases, and you're good to make your way all the way around. So I'll just go ahead and meet you at the end of round 33 to then show you the new count for row or round 34. Closing round 33. Great. Moving on to round 34. The new pattern for round 34 is going to be decreasing every 12 stitches. So we're going to have 12 flat single crochets, and we will be decreasing stitch 13 and 14 together. But because we decreased in the first 2 stitches of round 33, for round 34, let's give ourselves a buffer and make a flat single crochet in the first 5 stitches. 5, and then decrease. Great. And now we're going to go about our pattern, our repeat pattern, which is 12 front single crochets and then decrease. You've got it. Go ahead and make your way all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end to show you what we will do for round 35. Closing round 34. There we go. Now we are on to round 35. Chain 1. Since we went ahead and decreased at the 5th stitch, we're going to go backwards and decrease the first 2 stitches together. Perfect. Now we're going to make a front single crochet stitch in the first 11 stitches and then decrease the 12th and 13th stitch together. Repeat this all the way around for round 35, and I will meet you at the end of round 35 to show you what to do for round 36. Closing round 35. For round 36, we're going to chain 1. We're going to make 1 front single crochet in the first 5 stitches like we have done before to offset those decreases, and then we will make 1 front single crochet stitch in the next 10 stitches and then decrease 11 and 12 together, and repeat that pattern all the way around. I'll meet you at the end of round 36 to show you what to do next. Closing up round 36. Oops. There we go. Let's go for round 37, guys. Chain 1. Gonna go ahead and decrease the first 2 stitches together, and then the repeat pattern for round 37 is going to be front single crochet in the first 10 or the next 10 stitches, and then decrease front single crochet. And repeat that pattern all the way around for round 37. And I'll meet you at the end of round 37 to show you how to do the very last round, which will be round 38. All right, closing up round 37, and now we're on to the very last round for this beanie right here, and that's round 38. And again, I'm working the adult medium size. Gonna chain 1. Ooh. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start this round by decreasing the first 2 stitches together, and then the repeat pattern for round 38 is going to be front single crochet in the next 8 stitches and then decrease the next 2 stitches together. And that's it. Go ahead and repeat this pattern all the way around. Again, we're going to start with the front decrease, and then we will make 1 front single crochet in the next 8 stitches before we decrease again. I'll meet you at the end of round 38 to show you how we're going to actually close off this beanie. Yarn over, pull through, and slip stitch to close off round 38. Great. Check this out. We still have this much yarn left over in our project. It's not a lot, but I could go around at least 2 more times with this yarn if I needed to. I'm going to go ahead and cut off my yarn and then weave the yarn in between each of these stitches, cinch it closed to close off the top, and then my beanie should be complete. Once you've made your way all the way around, go ahead and turn it inside out. Here is the beanie that we made in today's tutorial. Let me try it on. What do you think? For all sizes, from newborn to adult large, please refer to my pattern where I have shared with you stitch counts and row counts so that way you can achieve the size beanie that you are trying to make. But also have some fun with it. Play with color combinations, play with yarn fibers and textures, and maybe even give my CWT EcoLuxe yarn line a try. Again, this yarn was on point and looks so good. Plus, this project is a great one skein project. Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.